Bonsoir, Latage.
Bonsoir, comment ça va?
All right. We've got all response again. Cool. All right, well, the first job that you get out of college can be a fearful thing, especially when it's sort of suggested to you by your friend's ex-girlfriend that maybe you hope you have a chance with, and also because it came down to the 4 psychology courses you were constrained to take because you were a sociology major. I got a job in the mental health field working with mentally retarded adults in a community group home. And I didn't know what to expect at all in this setting. I had seen the house growing up. I've driven past it a bunch of times. Once in a while I'd see somebody out in the yard just look like a guy, and that was okay. But when I went in the house for the first time, after I'd had 2 weeks of the professional training that they give you, where you get fire safety training, you get the don't grab people where they don't want to be grabbed, especially at work training, and where the fire extinguisher is, and good things like that. Also, they teach you crisis prevention and intervention techniques, so that when the folks with the serious mental health issues have a really bad day, you can help bring them back down and live a more controlled, orderly existence for the time being, I guess. When I stepped into the house the first time, nobody was there yet. They hadn't come back from their day program. I was there in the afternoon, and 2 of the staff had called out. The boss said, "Hey, I need you to go take the van, go to the day program, and pick all the guys up. They'll see the van, they'll get right in, no problems." So I drive the van down to the day program, and up comes the first guy. He comes walking up, he's kind of strutting, and he gets in the van. He doesn't look at me or say much to me. And I say, "Hi, I'm Patrick, I'm the new guy." And I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Fine, fine." I'm just kind of looking around a little bit, and I'm like, "Okay." And nobody else is really coming around, and he just started twitching a little bit, and started gritting his teeth, and he's just, all of a sudden he just looked furious. He was just, like he was, if he turned towards me, he would have killed me just by looking at me. He was, it was frightening. I hadn't really gotten into his chart yet, so I didn't know what to expect from this guy. And one of the big burly staff came strutting over, and he's like, "Hey, knock it off!" And he's like, "Okay." And it was really strange to see the change that came over him, because it hadn't occurred to him that things are okay and I can chill out a little bit more than I am. So we had that little moment, and that was special, and I was wondering if he was going to do that while I was driving, but nothing happened. We got back to the group home fine. And we went inside the house. I was formally introduced to all the staff and the other guys who lived in the house. Some wonderful people that I'm very grateful to have known in my life. If I ever have a son, one of them I'm going to name my boy after. But this one fellow who was having the tough time in the car, all of a sudden just started getting into that rage that I didn't understand, and he wasn't really saying anything, but he was just, and one of the staff was sitting on the sofa reading a novel, and I didn't understand that particularly either. I'm like, what's wrong with the fellow who's having a hard time there? She's like, "Oh, that's just his demon." I generally punt to science for explanations of mental health issues, but I went over to check out his chart, and it told me a story that his family, he had a good family life, honestly, but they weren't from the deeper end of the gene pool. As a child, he had access to and developed a taste for lead paint chips, which has a disastrous effect on a developing brain in a child. Also, he had been in a bad car accident with his parents. Both his parents were unconscious and bloody. He was traumatized as well. He got out of the car and was wandering around the accident scene and was attacked by a dog. Sometimes this guy would hallucinate that dogs were going to attack him. But we were supposed to say, oh, you're in a safe place, you're okay. Now, I tried saying that to him, and he was like, I am not okay! But cheers to him for knowing the truth there, I guess a little bit. But years passed, I got another job at the day program. It was 9 to 5, where I didn't have to stay till all hours. One day, there was one client and I in my program area. He also had some hallucination issues, where he had things bad enough that he was very, very heavily medicated and was very sleepy through most of the day. If they changed his meds, he would be very self-abusive or would aggress against other people. Everybody else had gone for the day. His ride was late. He was napping on the one of the workspace tables. And at the time, didn't work out with my friend's ex-girlfriend, and it's gonna ring again. I'm the praying kind of guy, and I said, God, silently, lips shut, I said, I really want a girlfriend, I really want a wife, I'd like your help in this, why am I so lonely? And the guy who was asleep and heavily medicated and mentally retarded and had hallucinations was asleep, if you didn't remember that. He goes, it's because you're selfish! I'm not sure what the metric is for demonic possession or spiritual afflictions, but I'm pretty sure those criteria were met in that little scene. Thank you much, Lataj. Have a good night.